Good morning everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn them notifications on. Back today, and we're off doing a little bit of fence repair work today. Me and my dad are just heading out into the field by the house. We've got an electric fence that's took a little bit of a battering over the winter and a few posts are snapped off, so it's meaning that the cows can't go out in the field. Now we're doing this today in the hopefulness, if that's a word, that the cows can go out in the morning. Now it's going to be a little bit earlier than what we usually loose the cows out after the wet winter we've had. I know, very surprising. We're planning on loosing them out tomorrow because the ground's dry enough, there's grass about. If it does come wet again in a couple of weeks time, we've always got the option to bring them in, but we should save a couple of weeks worth of silage. So that does just mean if it does come wet, we've always got the option to bring them in, whereas if we leave it a couple of weeks, that's 2 more weeks of silage that we use. If it comes wet then, it might be another 2 weeks before we can get them out. So that's the plan anyway. So we're just going to be repairing a bit of a fence here on this field where we're just heading to now. I harrowed this field the other day. Dad's just over there in the field now. So let's just have a look. You'll be able to see we've got the palmeter post knocker on the back of the tractor, post banger, post knocker, whatever you want to call it. This is quite an aged machine. Dad bought this years ago, brand new, because he used to actually go out doing quite a bit of fencing work for people. So yeah, we're quite lucky having this post knocker. So we're currently just going along the line of the fence, and we're going along here just to check any of the posts. So as you can see, Father's just down there checking that the posts are not snapped off or anything. This wire down here has gone really slack, and that's because there's a post broken just by that telegraph pole, and I think there's a couple more just at the top end. We got the posts currently on the post knocker. What he's basically done is put 2 posts coming through the frame into the back of the tractor, and then carries a post across the back. You can tell that someone has moved a lot of posts with this machine over the years. Right, so we've got all our posts knocked in now. Here's the wire. This fence here is just splitting this pasture here away from that one. Now years ago this used to be all one, but they decided to put a fence up there, have this as a separate pasture where I'm standing now, and then over there is where the cows walk up to get up onto the top of the bank. Now we've also put some posts in up on the top corner there. They were broken off, and we used some plastic posts last year, but they're not as a good a hold of the wire as the wooden posts. So now what we've got to do is pick our wire back up. You can see the wire's still down. We'll pull it tight around that end post. That'll then pull this into place nicely. Get some insulators in the posts we've put in, and then do the same up the top there. And that should be this patch here ready for the cows. Whether they go out on this tomorrow or not, I don't know. Having a second look, it might be a couple more days yet, because it does just feel a little bit soft underfoot. But the other day I harrowed this and didn't make a mess at all. So we shall see. So fencing job now coming along just nicely. Got the post back in at the end of here, so that's back up. The wire's back up. Dad's currently, we're just putting a water pipe up to the water trough there. We've just put it in, so he's just sort of plumbing that in. And then the fence we had that was going up there that was down, we've pulled that back tight. So now all that's left to do really here is to get this water pipe coupled up and whatever, and then I've got to go along the posts that we've just put in, like this one over here, this one here, and just put some insulators in these posts, and then this field should be ready for the cows tomorrow. Got the insulator screwy inny thingy on the end of the drill. Always takes me about 10 minutes to figure out which one of the slots these go into. We've got it worked out now. Easy as that. Just grab a wire. Job done.
This thing's real. Can't get the thing on. Chop bead on it, and then everything falls out.
You having fun down there? So yeah, you see we've fastened the wire on this end, left a gap. We put a trough in the middle. Now the reason we put the trough like this is so that when the cows are on this field, the trough's here, but when they're also over there and on that field through there, they can come back to here and use this trough. Whereas before, they used to have to go down there. What happens just in this area here is we end up with a lot of mess if it does get a bit wet. We don't really want them going through that all the time, so bringing the trough out into the field a bit should stop them having to go through all that to get to water. Water trough is now plumbed in. It is a little bit of a quick job, like we haven't dug the pipe in or anything, it's just running along the top of the ground along the fence line, but the cows shouldn't tread on it there, and it's not really going to come under any damage in the summertime. You're not going to get any frost damage. So Dad's just about to turn this on. Let's just see whether it... Oh, there we go. We have water. Now I'm just going to come around here. We've had a bit of trouble with the joint just down here leaking. Just have a quick look. Doesn't look like there's any water leaks to me. That's good. Just looking across there now. Here comes my little dog. Yeah, you can see, I would say, it's drying up nicely really. You can't really tell from here. But like here, this is the walkway where the cows come through to get up onto our banks. And you'll see from this, it's a lot drier than it would have been a week ago, I would say. You know, you'd be looking at all of it to be like this here. And what's happening here is we've got some sort of water is coming out of this overgrown area, coming down onto this field. So we could do with sorting that out. There's something I wanted to just show, and that's this ditch along here. Now we dug this ditch out about 5-6 years ago, and what we used to get, obviously you will see, there is a bank up there, and down there is the farm. So and there's also banks up all on that side, so we basically live in the middle of a valley. What we used to get a lot of is water runoff from up on that top ground there. Used to come down, before this ditch was there, would carry on all the way down and eventually end up around the farmyard. Not really ideal. So what we did is we had someone here doing some digger work, doing a concrete yard on the farm, and he'd seen the water running down to the farm, and he said you need to sort that out. So he come up here, had a look, and this is what we ended up with. This ditch across here. Now this runs every day of the year, all year round, obviously. Even when we had them droughts pretty much the last couple of summers, this ditch never stopped running. So it just shows how much water this ditch does actually catch, and it has just helped massively with drying the ground out. Years ago, this field here where you can see the stripes on which we've harrowed, that would be nowhere near dry enough to get the cows out yet, because you would have still had that constant flow of water going down there. But now it's dry as a bone pretty well. So it's done a perfect job, and it's just a good example of sort of managing where the water goes and how it gets into the big drains further down in the main part of this valley. Right, so I've just popped this insulator in here, and you'll see that it's actually upside down. The opening is in the bottom there, and the reason I've done this is because we're just going up the bank. Whether you can see this on camera or not, here's the wire, and you'll see that the wire at its natural point is up in the air, probably about a foot higher than where the post is. So I've put the insulator in upside down because this wire is always going to be pulling uphill. Now there's no opening here. This wire won't be able to pull out of the top of the insulator, which is where it should be here. There's probably no proper way for putting these. You can either do them that way or the other. It just depends on which way the wire is going to naturally pull. And there we are. There is the fencing job complete. Not sure actually how much footage of the actual job I've got. I've recorded this over a couple of days, and I've also been working with my dad. He's not so lenient with spending a couple of minutes recording. He just wants to get on with the job. So a little bit less footage than what I would have liked. My hair's an absolute mess today. Who cares? So yeah, that's all. Hopefully the next video could well be of the cows going out. Hopefully they'll go out tomorrow morning, so that should be up by Monday, Tuesday next week. Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.